Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be talking to you about the NHL Awards. Now the NHL 2020 playoffs will be coming up soon. According to Gary Bettman, there will be a 2014 playoff with a qualification round, then a round robin tournament for the four teams who have received byes to determine seeding. Now this obviously is a sign that the regular season is over, and Gary Bettman has said that the 2019-20 regular season is officially over. Now, according to this tweet I'm showing from Pierre LeBrun, the 2020 regular season is over now. That means that all the awards that are normally given at the end of the season, they can be voted on and given out before the start of the qualification round. Now, this is obviously a sign that all the numbers and everything are set. There will be no more changes. However, Greg Wyshynski, who works at ESPN, he had a tweet that obviously went to an ESPN place where you can see right here that the numbers aren't necessarily set in stone. Now, this is primarily referring to the awards like the Rocket Richard Trophy, Art Ross Trophy, and even the William M. Jennings Trophy. These awards are determined by statistics. So now, like the best players in this situation, they're going to be receiving the award. Now, this may change as there's no determination yet in the collective bargaining agreement that will say whether or not the qualification games will count to the stats. Now, a bit of a side note here with this would definitely be a negative impact, I would say, because it's a bit unfair. As you're looking at the players, let's focus on the Rocket Richard Trophy. Alex Ovechkin and David Pastrnak both have 48 goals and lead the league in goals. They both have byes. They're two of the top four teams in the East. Now, Austin Matthews has 47 goals, but his team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, they are playing the qualification games. So Pastrnak and Ovechkin, they're only going to get 3 games to improve their stats if this counts. While Matthews could potentially get 5 if Toronto loses at least 2 games. Now, this is going to be causing some issues, I think, with the numbers. So I think they should just base it off the regular season, and that would be it. Maybe you want to do the per games played for some of them. Though I don't think it really should matter. I think it should be the total based on the regular season numbers. Now, I just wanted to preface that before I get into the awards predictions, because I'm going to talk about the awards that have statistics as well and say who would win them if they are based purely on the regular season. Now, also, I'm going to say there are a couple awards I'm not going to mention. That would be the Bill Masterton Trophy, the King Clancy, and the Mark Messier Leadership Award. Those awards, they're not purely based on ice performances, so I'm going to not have a prediction for those just because you can't really factor in off ice performances in something like this where you purely hit numbers. So that's why I'm just going to reference them now that I don't know who's going to win them. I'm not going to have a prediction for them. However, all the other awards, I will have a prediction, have a couple nominees who I think are deserving of it, and obviously who I think will win each of these awards. Now, before I get into these predictions, I want to talk to you about Black Note Hockey. Obviously, everyone knows I am a part of this team, the Black Note Hockey Productions team. Now, obviously, I'm going to leave a link to the podcast YouTube channel. I'm going to leave a link to the website in the description. I'm also going to leave a link to the Fanatics. Now, we're partnering with Fanatics. You can get all your sports merchandise there. It's a great website. I've gotten quite a few things. I actually got a Christmas present for my mom for this past Christmas on Fanatics. And it was a great deal. It is great quality merchandise. I would recommend going there. And I'm going to leave a link to the description. It'll be right there in the description if you want to go to that website, buy anything sports related there. Alright, so the first trophy that I'm going to talk about is the biggest trophy you can get for individual honors, and that is the Hart Memorial Trophy. Now, the Hart Memorial Trophy is given out to the league's best player or the league's most valuable player. Now, in the current situation in the NHL, there are obviously a lot of good players who are among the elite players, and there are also some players who are incredibly valuable to their team. But usually the Hart Trophy goes to someone who's a bit of a combination of both. This year there were 5 really high quality nominees for it. There's 2 players from the Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and Nathan MacKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche, Artemi Panarin of the New York Rangers, and David Pastrnak of the Boston Bruins. Those 5 players were immense their team, leading them in some capacity, as well as being among the best players in the league. Now, I'm gonna start actually with the two players who I think are least deserving, though they're very deserving based on the numbers alone. But I just don't think they're gonna win it this year based on the other players, and those are David Pastrnak and Connor McDavid. Now, Connor McDavid was the second best player in terms of points all season, tied for second in assists with 63, and second with 97 points. He also played for a fairly average team, so he was very valuable. But I don't think he's going to win it because of his teammate Leon Draisaitl, who stole the headlines this season. Now, David Pastrnak, he led the league in goals, tied for first with Alex Ovechkin on 48, but he also was tied for third with 95 points. And his issue, I don't think he'll win, was he was on the best team in the league. So he had a lot of high quality players around him that are immense to their team, like Tuukka Rask in goal, with Jarro Halak as well. Then you had the best line in hockey, in my opinion, David Pastrnak with Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron. Now, those two players, McDavid and Pastrnak, elite players, among the best in the league. I don't think they should win the Hart this season. Now, the next two players are, I think, probably the most valuable players in the league. However, I don't think they're going to win because of the numbers. You have Nathan MacKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche. He was the star player for the second best team in the West in Colorado, but he was sixth in assists with 58 and fifth in points with 93. Again, very, very good numbers, but I just don't think those numbers are enough to help him out with how valuable he was to his team. Plus, he had help Mikhail Makar there. Now, the other one is Artemi Panarin. He was tied for third in points with 95 and tied for second with 63 assists. He also played on a fairly weak team as the Rangers only finished 11th in the East. So he's got a very valuable player to a very poor team. But I just don't think his numbers are, again, enough to boost him over the guy who I think will win the award. And that is going to be Leon Draisaitl of the Edmonton Oilers. Leon Draisaitl was the best player in the NHL this season by far. He was 13 points clear of his teammate for this points lead with 110, and he also led with 67 assists. Now, these numbers are incredible. Obviously, it's a bit of a shortened season because of the outbreak. However, I still think Draisaitl was far and away the best player in the league, and he's very deserving of the Hart Memorial Trophy for 2019-20 season. Next up, we have the Lady Byng Memorial Trophy. Now, the Lady Byng Trophy is awarded to a player who has outstanding sportsmanship while also playing at a high ability. Now, obviously, you have players who are really good at point scoring. You have someone like Tom Wilson, who's been pretty good this season in points, or Brad Marchand. However, they're not going to win it because they have a lot of penalty minutes. On the other hand, you have someone like Christopher N. of Detroit, who only had 2 penalty minutes in quite a few games, but he didn't really perform that well. So this award primarily goes to someone who is, again, one of the better players on their team or in the league, and they also are very polite, let's say, as they don't get a lot of penalty minutes. There are really 3 primary options for this. You have Ryan O'Reilly from St. Louis, who had 10 penalty minutes and 61 points. And he's one of the best players in the Blues, who are the best team in the West. And he's won this award in the past. And he's also, again, all-around great player. Then you also have William Nylander of Toronto Maple Leafs, 12 penalty minutes, 59 points. Again, one of the better players in Toronto and does not get a lot of penalty minutes. These 2 guys, very good. But there's one player who stands out above them, and that is Nathan MacKinnon. Now, I already talked about MacKinnon for the Hart. He was very good. Some people say he should win the Hart because he is probably one of the more valuable players in the league. But he won't win it this year. I just don't think he had enough for it. But I think he will win the Lady Byng. Now, he had 93 points, but he only had 12 penalty minutes, which is really good. It's a very good ratio of points to penalty minutes. And he's been very sportsmanlike, and he's been a very, very talented player. One of the best players in the league. So that's why I do think he'll win the Lady Byng Memorial Trophy. And now the next award is going to be the Vezina Trophy. Now, the Vezina is given to the best goaltender. Now, this one, you have a lot of debate on. There's a few guys who are deserving it, like Ben Bishop, very good with Dallas. But there are 3 primary players who I think are most deserving. Those 3 are Connor Hellebuyck, Tuukka Rask, and Andrei Vasilevskiy. Now, Vasilevskiy did lead the league in wins with 35, and he also was part of an elite team. Tampa Bay was second best in the East. However, he did have the worst goals against average and save percentage of the top three players. Actually, second worst goals against average, but only slightly. He had a 917 save percentage and a 256 goals against average. Those aren't bad numbers by any stretch of the means, but I just think that the other players were a bit better overall. They make up for the fact that they didn't win as much as Vasilevsky did. Now, it really is a two-horse race, as a lot of people have said. It's between Connor Hellebuck of Winnipeg Jets and Tuukka Rask of the Boston Bruins. Now, this one's, I'd say, it's a bit controversial, my decision here. It also is a bit weird because you think I would pick the Bruins guy, but I'm actually going to give it to Connor Hellebuck. Now, the UMass Lowell product, who I've seen actually play in person when he played against University of New Hampshire in college hockey, he's an insanely good goalie. Now, he's been a star for Winnipeg, and Winnipeg's not been a great team this season. They're fairly average, I would say. He had 31 wins, being the best, pretty much the main goalie for them, because they didn't really have a goalie share, as Hellebuck was the guy, and had the backup get a couple of minutes here and there. He also had a 9.2 save percentage, which is very good. And he did have the worst goals against average at 2.57. But it's still a fairly good goals against average. And also, he was on a fairly average team. And without him, they probably would not have been anywhere near where they are now. Now, obviously, that means Tuukka Rask, I think, will be the runner-up. Now, this one, I think a lot of people will say Tuukka Rask should win it. And I really think he should win it. His numbers speak for themselves. He had a 2.12 goals against average, which is one of the best in the league, if not the best. And he had a 9.9 save percentage. That was second best when I looked at for goalies with a minimum of 25 games played. He was insane for the Bruins this season. Stood on his head, and he also won 26 games for the best team in hockey. But the issue with him winning the Vezina is the fact that he shared game time with Yaroslav Halak. The Bruins really had the best goaltending tandem in the league with Halak and Rask, and I think that's going to really hurt Rask's case for the Vezina. Hellebuck, he was the main man for Winnipeg. So that's why Hellebuck will win the Vezina Trophy for the season. All right, the next trophy is probably one of the more hotly contested trophies I'm going to talk about, and that is the Calder Memorial Trophy. Now, the Calder Memorial Trophy is awarded to the league's best rookie, so someone who's in their first season of the NHL. Now, this one has been interesting. Obviously, the third choice player I'm going to mention him quickly is Adam Fox of the New York Rangers. He was third among rookies in assists with 34 and fourth with 42 points, and he was on a fairly average team in the Rangers. But again, I think the top two players were far and away the two best rookies in the NHL. Now, those are Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar. Quinn Hughes plays for Vancouver Canucks, and Cale Makar plays for the Colorado Avalanche. These two players have been back and forth all season long. Who's going to win the Calder? Who knows? However, I personally am going to say that the Calder Trophy should go to Cale Makar. Now, Cale Makar may not, he obviously is eligible because it's his first season in the NHL officially. However, he did technically play last season in the playoffs for the Avalanche. So, is he a rookie? Yes, and because this is his first regular season. But again, I do think he should win the Calder. He is a top defenseman for an elite team, so he's a very good player on a very good team, top pairing for the Avalanche. And he also was really good. He was second in assists and points amongst all rookies with 38 assists, 50 points. Very good numbers from a very good player. Again, I've seen Carr play in person. He burned UNH many times when he played for UMass Amherst. He is insane. You never want to play against him because he was always going to be the best player on the team. And now he's going to edge Quinn Hughes, who a lot of people say should win it because he did lead all rookies with 53 points and 45 assists. However, I just think him being on Vancouver kind of hurts him a little bit. Again, it's an average team. He was one of the better players for them, but I just don't think his numbers are going to be enough to help that Cale Makar had a significantly better team. And Makar also was probably one of the better players, probably the best defenseman on that team. But again, this award really could either way. Hughes could win it, Makar could win it. I'm just going to give the edge to Cale Makar just by a small margin. Probably this much is how much I would give it to Makar over Hughes by. Now the next award, that's going to be the Art Ross Trophy. This one really has no debate, as this one is one of the statistical awards. Now again, as I said earlier, may change depending on if the qualifications count. But I really don't think it's going to change it. It's going to be Leon Draisaitl winning it. He's 13 points clear of his teammate Connor McDavid. He had 43 goals, 67 assists for 110 points to lead Edmonton to obviously updated playoffs. And they would have made it regardless, but again, he's such a good player for them. He was the best player in the league, best points. Again, there's no real debate. This is a numbers-based award. And right now, it's your Draisaitl. And I do think in the end, regardless of any changes, Draisaitl will win the Art Ross Trophy. All right, the next award I want to talk about is the James Norris Memorial Trophy. Now, the Norris Trophy is given to the league's best defenseman. Now, obviously, there's a lot of good defensemen in the league. And this award's kind of been debated in the past because sometimes they're going to give it to someone like Erik Karlsson who gets a lot of points and not is also a very good defenseman, but not necessarily the best actual defenseman. When there's players like I'm gonna go like Zdeno Chara in his prime, very elite defenseman, didn't necessarily do the offense like the other guys, but he was a very solid defenseman. Now this award this year, there's really two players, in my opinion, who are going to go for it. The third player you could say could potentially win it is Victor Hedman of Tampa Bay. He was fourth amongst defensemen in assists with 44 and third in points 55 and was on an elite defensive team in Tampa Bay. I just don't think that's going to happen. So it really comes down to John Carlson and Roman Josi. Now Roman Josi played for Nashville. He was second in assists and points for defenseman, 49 assists, 65 points. Fairly average team, but he was a very good defenseman. However, I don't think that's going to help him because the other guy, John Carlson, he was fourth in the league in assists with 60, so he was the best defenseman in assists, and had the most points of the defenseman with 75. Plus, he was an elite defenseman for an elite team. And Washington they got one of the 4 buys in the East, and was one of the reasons why they had such a good defense. So that's why I think John Carlson will win the Norris Trophy for the best defenseman. And next, we have the Ted Lindsay Award. Now, this award is voted on by the NHLPA for the most outstanding player. Now, obviously, the same nominees for the Hart, I think, are in the running for the Ted Lindsay. You have Leon Draisaitl, Artemi Panarin, Nathan MacKinnon, David Pastrnak, and Connor McDavid. And just like the Hart Trophy, I'm going to say Leon Draisaitl wins it. Draisaitl has been outstanding. It's very much the same as the Hart, best player in the league. And again, I think players are going to vote for him because of his numbers, being the most outstanding player. This one is primarily based on the actual performance instead of the value of a player. So this one I think is more convincing that Draisaitl wins. The next award is actually not going to be for a player. It's actually going to be for a coach. This is the Jack Adams Award, which is given to the Coach of the Year. Now, this year, there's been some good coaches. A lot of people are saying John Tortorella of Columbus should be really considered for this award because they lost several key players, including their main man, Artemi Panarin, and they were able to still have a solid season. They did finish 9th in the East, but I don't think 9th in the East should be really receiving the Coach of the Year award for the best coach. That leaves really 3 teams, in my opinion, who have their coach really be a top option. And that would be Jared Bednar of Colorado, Craig Berube of St. Louis, and Bruce Cassidy of the Bruins. Now, Bednar, he had a really young team. McKinnon's still fairly young. Makar is the rookie. And they're very good players, very good team, and they ended up finishing second in the West. Now, Berube, obviously, Blues won the Cup last season, and he led them again to the top spot in the West. So you really got to look at those. But in my opinion, when you have the Coach of the Year, it's to be the best coach, and usually the best coach is on the best team. And that would be Bruce Cassidy of the Boston Bruins. Bruce Cassidy, he led the Bruins to 100 points in this shortened season, the only team to reach that mark, and they ended up winning the President's Trophy for the best team in the NHL in the regular season. So obviously, I personally think that the best team, their coach, should be the Coach of the Year. Now, obviously, some people say no, because the Bruins have a stacked team that Cassidy shouldn't win it. But you think, he's done a really good job at coaching, especially when the Bruins have a lot of depth help. They had some really lesser-known players step up this season. Sean Crawley's always been clutch for the Bruins, and he's not even a top 6 player. And I think the Bruins have the best team. Bruce Cassidy is really deserving of Coach of the Year. And now, probably one of my favorite awards actually to see every year, and that is the Frank J. Selke Award. This award is given to the best defensive forward. Now, usually the best defensive forward, it's usually a center, because the center is probably one of the most important positions on the ice, outside of goalie, obviously. But the center, they're the ones who take all the face-offs, and they're usually one of the primary players for checking. And now there's three guys who are often considered for this award. You have Ryan O'Reilly of the Blues, Sean Couturier of the Flyers, and Patrice Bergeron of the Bruins. These three are they're always in the running. You also like players like Mark Stone, Andrei Kopitar. They're always up there, but I don't think they're up there this year like these top three. O'Reilly, he had a 56.7 faceoff percentage, while also leading the league with 1,556 faceoff attempts. That's a lot of faceoffs. The other two guys on this list don't even have over 1,000. Now, he also led the Blues in assists with 49 and points with 61, and had an average ice time of 20 minutes 34 seconds. So he was always on the ice and was always the faceoff guy for them. He was very good. I just don't think he really had all the defensive aspects of it. So that's why I'm having him as the third place guy. The top two are pretty much always the top two, Sean Couturier and Patrice Bergeron. Bergeron has been a runner-up or the winner for 8 years now in a row, and he's won 4 times. Couturier hasn't won it yet, but he's been the nominee quite a few times, been a finalist. And I think this year it's going to continue. Couturier is going to be the runner-up. Now, he did lead the league in faceoff percentage with 59.6%, and it was second on the Flyers with 59 points, while averaging 19 minutes 50 seconds of time on ice per game. Now, these are all very good numbers. However, this award has been in the past been heavily revolved around the reputation of a player. And I think Patrice Bergeron has that reputation. That's why I think he's going to win it yet again. It's been a while, but he's finally going to get his 5th win. Big win for him. Now, he's been a key player for the 3rd best penalty kill in the league, as the Bruins are again 3rd best penalty kill in the entire NHL. And he's obviously one of the best penalty killers. He's also consistently one of the best forecheckers in the league. Him and Brad Marchand always there's very pesky when they're forechecking. They're going to get the turnovers. And also, he's an elite faceoff player. He's 57.9% on faceoffs, and was throwing the Bruins in points with 56. Even though he did average only 18 minutes 44 seconds of time on ice per game, he still was an elite player all around, and he's the best two-way forward in my opinion in the entire NHL. He should win the Selke Trophy yet again. The next 2 awards I'm going to talk about are the last 2 statistical-based awards I'm going to talk about. First up, we have the William M. Jennings Trophy. That is given to the goalie or goalies that have the fewest goals allowed with a minimum of 25 games played. Now, this year, the best defense in the league was the Boston Bruins. They only allowed 174 goals this season, and that is in part due to their goaltending tandem, which is the best goalie tandem in the entire league. That is Tuukka Rask and Yaroslav Halak. Now, Tuukka Rask was the number 1 goalie. He still is the number 1 goalie for the Bruins. Favorite for the Vezina Trophy, most people could say. And Halak, in any other year, any other team would be a number 1 goalie, I think, other than teams that have like Vasilevsky with Tampa Bay and Hellebuck in Winnipeg, Bishop in Dallas. Those teams, they don't necessarily have any improvements, but I think Halak really could be an improvement on most teams in the NHL. And he's the Bruins' backup. He played quite a bit actually with him and Rask splitting game time pretty fairly. They both played over 25 games. So that's why this year they would both receive the William M. Jennings Trophy for fewest goals allowed. Now, this one actually is fairly more confirmed, but it's not official because of the potential that awards may include the playing games. Now, the next award is the Maurice Rocket Richard Trophy. This award is given to the leading goal scorer in the entire league. Now, there is no tiebreaker like there is with the Art Ross Trophy, so if Draisaitl, let's say someone did tie Draisaitl in points, there would be a tiebreaker. With the Rocket Richard Trophy, there can be ties. And this year there is a tie based on the regular season. And that would be David Pastrnak of the Boston Bruins and the great 8 Alexander Ovechkin from Washington Capitals. Both players finished on 48 goals in the regular season. These 2 players, elite level goal scoring players. Ovechkin is still trying to hunt down Wayne Gretzky's all-time leading for the National Hockey League record for career goals. He's still hunting down Gretzky for that, and I think he very well could if he's able to play for a couple seasons at a high level still, averaging like 40 to 50 goals a season. Because this actually Ovechkin would be his ninth Rocket Richard Trophy, as he's been elite level goal scorer for many years. He always seems to end up winning the Rocket Richard Trophy, no matter what. Obviously, Matthews is right behind Ovechkin and Pastrnak by 1 goal, and he could technically win it if they do count the qualification game. But for the purpose of this video, I'm focusing on purely regular season, and Ovechkin would win his ninth, and Pastrnak would win his first. And actually be the first for the Bruins in many years. I believe since 1999, actually. The Bruins haven't won a lot. They don't have a lot of league goal scorers, but Pastrnak this year was one of the best goal scorers in the league, especially on the power play. Now, the last award I'm going to talk about is the Jim Gregory GM of the Year. Now, this award only recently received its name, the Jim Gregory, in November 2019, but this award is going to be given to the best general manager of the year. Now, you really can give it to 3 teams, their GMs. That would be Edmonton's Ken Holland, Colorado's Joe Sakic, and the Bruins' Don Sweeney. Now, Ken Holland, he obviously had his 2 star players, McDavid and Draisaitl, and he built a very strong team around them. Obviously, didn't necessarily perform the best, but he had a really good year, obviously having the 2 best players in the league. Then you have Joe Sakic, who had a young team, some good talent, McKinnon and Makar especially, and they're also the second best team in the West, and they're an elite team. And you have the Bruins with Don Sweeney. He built the best team in the league, including the best line in the league with Pastrnak, Bergeron, and Marchand. He has some really elite defensemen in Torrey Krug, Brandon Carlo, and Charlie McAvoy, and they also have the best goalies in the league with Halak and Rask. Now, based on what I've said, you may say Sweeney should win the GM of the Year, and normally I would agree. Obviously, as a Bruins fan, I would say Bruins should win everything. But really, I'm actually going to say that Colorado and Joe Sakic should win the GM of the Year. Now, that team is really special because they took some risks. Cale Makar was the 4th overall draft pick, and he played 2 years with UMass Minutemen and UMass Amherst Minutemen down in Hockey East and NCAA. And he actually won the Hoey Baker in his sophomore year, then decided to go pro and join the Avalanche in the playoffs last season, scored in his debut. He's an elite player at such a young age, at least for his age. And Nate McKinnon, elite player, one of the best in the league. And the team they built around them is actually fairly solid. It may not be the most insane team. They're not the Bruins. They're not going to have the best record. But they were second best in the West, 92 points, only 2 behind the Blues. I think that's very deserving of the GM of the Year. And so there you have it. Those are my predictions for the 2019-20 NHL Season Awards. Now, again, these awards are my opinion personally, who I think is going to win everything, who I think the top nominees are. But I think the general consensus is, at least on who's going to be up, who's up for the running for these awards. And obviously, there's going to be some people who agree with me, and there's people who disagree. Now, if anyone has anybody who they think should win any of these awards over who I think, or if you agree, leave a comment down below. Again, there's a link to Black and Gold Hockey in the description, the YouTube, and the website. Just go check those out. A lot of great quality content over there on both sources. That's going to be it for this video. I'm going to hopefully have another video early next week where I'm going to be looking at the playoff sim or potentially the start of my NHL 20 sim, where I'm going to be controlling the Boston Bruins and going through a season, see whether or not they can be the President's Trophy winners like they were this season. Yes, so that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.